Welcome to More Than Renovating, a renovate and real estate podcast. Our founder, Belinda Smith, talks to industry experts to provide you with the knowledge and information you need to make renovating for love and profit your reality. Belinda will also chat to some of her Renovation Mastery members, who are just everyday people doing extraordinary things, following their passions in the renovation and property space. So, let's jump straight into the episode. Enjoy.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Belinda Smith from Renovate and Real Estate, and welcome to the More Than Renovating podcast. And today I'm excited to introduce you to someone who's blazing a trail for women in construction, the amazing Penny Petridis, founder of Female Tradie. Penny's a qualified carpenter and a licensed builder. Penny, you've not only built up a thriving business in a male-dominated industry, but you're also empowering a new generation of women and men to take up the tools and own their own space in the trades or even as DIYers. So I know a lot of my guys listening to this podcast are going to be leaning right into this conversation. Penny's on a mission to break stereotypes, to raise the standard and show women and men who have never picked up a tool before what's possible with a little bit of encouragement and some training through her Get Handy workshops. So if you're someone who's ever been told you can't or you shouldn't, this conversation's for you. Welcome, Penny.
Thanks, Belinda. How are you? Good. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no. You're so welcome. Let's kick off, like where the journey begins. Take us back to the beginning, like what led you to pick up the tools and start working in a trade.
It's been, I was always on tools, so working with dad in the workshop and always in the garden. So it was just a no-brainer. It was just natural for me. I knew I loved doing it, fixing cars and that sort of stuff. So I just knew as I was going through school, I didn't really know what avenue to go by. So I was very lucky to just fall into jumping into trade. So I started my first trade when I was 18. So, and that was basically building custom cars. So, and getting into crazy. So I was basically could build cars by, turning, bending metal, welding, and that sort of jazz. So it was a pretty cool to go into. I joined my first apprenticeship at boiler making trade, which is a heavy metal apprenticeship. So that was amazing. I got into boiler making and structural metal beams and that, and I did that for the first 7 years, and that was pretty much the start of my trades and tools. And I never stopped after that. I went into did horticulture. I completed my carpentry, kitchens, bathrooms, did my builders, and moved into training. So it's just an addictive thing, right? Once you start learning tools, you just want to learn more and more. So that's how that started for me.
Look, I agree. I had a really good look at where it all began on your website, actually, and to see you go from really, it must have been from one passion to another, to go from mechanics into horticulture and then into renovating. Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah. That's so yes. I mean, that's I guess as you learn, you kind of want to be able to pick up more skills, and that's what I, try to share with, my students now. It's like they've got that little bit of fear. It's just to just start somewhere, like get the skills and just keep learning and just go from there.
So did you always imagine yourself in like some kind of hands-on trade-based role? Like, and where did female tradie come out of all of this?
No. I mean, I was just lucky. It was just that there was the old guy that was running the workshop. I was so loving it so much, and I just would turn up every day. Basically, I didn't have a job or anything, but he could just see that I was just so passionate about it, and
Yeah.
that's when he invited me to do an apprenticeship. So, so I never knew I struggled at school, and it was the last 2 years I struggled so much because I had no idea. It wasn't your typical job. So I struggled quite a bit in that sort of sense. So
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 watching
when
your energy, Penny, I'm not surprised. I think your report card would have said Penny finds it hard to sit still, but she's bright and has got a lot of potential. Am I right?
yeah, that's right.
This lady's going places, but not so much in the classroom.
Not so much in the classroom, no.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
therefore, like working like you have on trades in landscaping, and now obviously in the building industry, renovating, etc. Like, does that fulfill that part of you that was just never okay with sitting still?
yeah, yeah. It's I just love it. I think, being able to get out, like even when I'm doing work and I have to be in the office now that we've, gone a different avenue, there's a
Yeah,
lot more office work than it used to be doing,
yeah,
doing the trades, renovating full time. So I'm in the office for a couple of hours and it's just like, oh, I just can't wait. And then once that finishes, I go to the workshop or go and get the tools, and then it's just like natural, and I love it. So,
yeah. That's your
yeah,
freedom.
I think I don't think, yeah,
And
that would
there's
ever
probably a
stop.
lot of people like you. But like when you started working in the building trade, really wasn't common for women at all. So when you began, what
Mhm.
challenges did you face early on, and how did you push through those challenges?
I think as an apprentice, when I was younger, it was trying to fit in. Like, it was very male dominated. So I'm trying to
Yeah,
see where I can fit in, or I was very nervous and anxious just because I always had eyes on me, and yeah, just knowing what conversations to be part of and what not to be part of. So sometimes it's like, okay. I don't even, and it's the same thing as, grew up, as you would say, and basically started my own business, female tradie. The challenges were there, there were still challenges, but the challenges were different, as in, the challenges I found then was that I was the one being the project manager of a renovation job. So the challenges was being able to tell trades what you wanted, and then making sure that that discussion came across well. So I think that was, yeah, being able to, number one is prove your skills. I had to prove myself, so I obviously
yeah,
knuckled down, and I was always on the top of the class. If I wasn't
yeah,
first, I was second. Because I
yeah,
think no one can really say anything if you're top in their class.
yeah.
They
Oh,
can't
I
really
love
give
that.
you
I did
credit.
that in the cops. Yeah, when I was in the
Yeah,
police, there were 11 women per 137 fellas in a station, and women were new out on the street. We were or my class was the second class out on general duties, which means at last we didn't have to do school lecturing anymore. Police work for us was more than just taking sexual assault statements and doing all the female related stuff. Man,
yeah,
we worked so hard, us first girls, to forge the path. We felt like we were doing it on behalf of everyone else. And so
yeah,
we worked so hard. And yeah, I was
yeah.
right up the top of my academy class too. And I just thought, I'm not going to argue about it. I'm not going to try and prove anything to them. I'm just going to prove to myself that I can do really well, keep my head down and my bum up and keep out of trouble. But do you reckon a sense of humor really helps as well?
Yeah, 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 of course, always. Yeah. And no ego. You gotta try not to make
Oh,
sure you just have no ego. You just gotta go. I think it's number one is your knowledge, making sure you've got the knowledge to back yourself up.
yeah.
And number two is being able to communicate effectively. So there's no power thing, it's just being able to create that space where
And
no
did you
one's, yeah.
find that there are people who are naturally rejecting your new, I'll say new place in the world, and really you have forged the way for a lot more female tradies are around and about now, but back in the day, not so many.
Yeah.
So some people are really accepting. Did you find workmates were either accepting, and really respected you and were prepared to back you, but there were a few people that would kind of push back on the whole concept of it? What was your experience?
Yeah, and I still get that. Like I put a post on TikTok yesterday, and I've had like 4 or 5 guys going, "Who the hell is this person? What does
No.
that person know?" It's like, yeah, just yesterday, 4 people, and it's just like, it's just funny because if they only knew like my experience, my trades, and everything, like there's not that many people that have got 4 trades under their belt. You know what I mean? So I
100%.
find that. I find it quite hilarious, but so yeah, but I think that's how female tradie started. So number
Yeah.
one, in regards to clients,
Yeah.
uh, I would be rocking up. I started my own business. I'd be rocking up to see clients, and then I'd turn up on the door, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's a female." So they'll be like, "Oh, can you do the job? Are you going to be able to do it? Are you licensed?" So there was always a story that would start. So there'll be a 20-minute story before I even got to the job. So,
Yeah.
and that kind of went on, and I was like, I'm just over the story. I just want to do the job. So
Yeah,
that's
even honestly, even today doing this podcast, that's a story that people are always going to ask you, and I'm going to ask you about,
yeah,
and it's what people are very interested in. But the truth is, you're a
yeah,
capable tradie. You're doing your thing
yeah,
at a very, very high standard,
yeah,
and that's what you
yeah.
want to be known for, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I mean, that's how that started. That's how female tradie started. Because if you
Yeah,
change the name, then that way we had get rid of the story, and whoever was, willing to be able to employ a female tradie. And then when you move on, as you said, onto the job sites, a team, my team was great. We created a good renovating team, and that was it. You had your electrician, your plumber, and that's what you probably would teach too,
yeah,
making sure that you get the right trades and creating a perfect team, then that's like, yeah, half of the problems. Like, so
yes,
so once I built that, that was great. But obviously, there's always challenges when you going to a site. There's always people that are going to be, you know, cackling at you or
I
something,
know,
eyes on you. It's just,
I
you
know.
always got to be like this positive, confident, like cry, because you know that there's always someone looking at you.
Yeah, you got to hold
It's
the
getting better.
space.
It's getting better. It's getting
Yeah, I
better.
think it's getting better too, and you hold space. But the upside of that for women, especially single women who are at home in their own environment, do you find that they take to you and that you're more likely to take them on as new clients if you're working on a project for them, etc. Um, because there's that automatic connection and feeling safe,
Yeah.
and we
Mm.
communicate at a different level. And
Um,
yeah, I don't know. I see it as a real positive in the marketplace. We need more.
Yeah, well, and again, that's how our workshop started,
Yeah,
because and I did a clip not long ago. It was because I knew that female tradie, there was a potential to franchise that to go nationally, and the thing is that we just didn't have enough skilled women to franchise the business. So me taking on an apprentice once a year, or two, two of them over it wasn't enough to expand. So
yeah,
that was one of the reasons why we had to start with workshops, was so we can train people to, get more skilled. But also me turning up to a job and me doing a job, I always had them looking over my shoulder, like they were curious. There were so many people that were curious, and they wanted to learn what I was doing, because they never had that opportunity.
yeah,
And that's when, you keep hearing their voices, and you're like, all right, we need to kind of do something about it. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
There's a real
they're the,
market for it, and for women, I think there's a real market for women, for men and women clients. But there's something that there's a connection. I think a feeling of trust and safety, um, and maybe being on the same peer level. I don't know. I think it's phenomenal. Keep going, Penny. Keep going.
Thanks, Belinda. Yeah, it is a communication. I think a lot of women have had bad experiences with, builders, male builders, and they
Yeah,
just struggle a little bit to hear what the actual client wants, and it's all about, well, this is how it is. And
yeah,
I think that's where the difference lies. Being able to actually listen. I had a client that wanted like a timber pergola, and the builder actually went and installed a metal pergola, because he said basically that was the best option. She was mortified, like, do you know what I mean? But just situations like
yeah,
that. So
yeah,
not saying everyone's the same, but I think it's being able to, again, with anything, it's being able to listen, like,
yeah.
create that space for.
Yeah. And for people hiring builders, the fear of being dismissed and your opinion not valued is right up there. And I find that with a lot of my renovation students too. It's one of the things where they say, I need to get a good builder because I want to be able to communicate where we both understand each other and how we work. And honestly, once you do find that tradie, then everything's a gift. It's just everything is.
Yes.
That's when people really start to renovate with confidence and ease, and it's great for the tradie, and it's great for, say, your client, which is my students, essentially. Yeah, fantastic. So you work with lots of
Yeah.
newbies, like
And
lots of women
that's
too,
what,
wanting to learn how to build. Do they want to do odd jobs around the home or renovate? Like, what are the most common reasons that people come to you to do your training courses?
so we basically have like three groups.
Yeah,
So we've got a group that wants to learn to just fix things around the house, like just being able to use a drill. So, cabinet door falls off, so they're not having to rely on trades or getting a handy person in. So there's that group. Then there's the renovators, that the renovators are there to renovate their own home to make it like their dream little home, or renovating for profit. So
yeah,
you got those people that are renovating for profit, and then I'm a big advocate on supporting people to run their own maintenance business, because I think there's a really big gap in that. So it's basically home repairs, renovators, and maintenance, like their own business in it. So yeah, that's the three areas we sort of cover.
Do you think when renovators gain more knowledge, when they start to really get a better understanding of how things come together, that it's beneficial, and how does it benefit people?
Learning their renovating
Yeah,
skills.
yeah,
Yeah. For me, like I've done heaps of renovations myself. Even like if you take it back to my personal ones,
yeah,
take it away from the business thing, it's just knowing what you can do on a cosmetic renovation that you can do yourself, that could put so much value onto your house, whether it's for yourself, or be able to create a nice little sanctuary for yourself, or just add value to your home. And it's just those little things, the cosmetic stuff, or even learning how to do all the skirtings, like the basic carpentry, or repairing, building a little deck. Like there's all those things that I try to share, because I know it's just those small jobs. I'm not telling you go and build a structural wall or put some roof on, or
yeah, yeah,
anything major, but what we can teach you in our workshops, just those little small things, uh, add such great value to renovations. And I also think it's great for you to be able to have that connection with your builder, like to be able to gain that trust. And
yeah,
that's what I, teach a lot in our workshops, especially our 3-day carpentry. I always say to them, if you could even be able to learn to measure and cut like precisely, that would become such a value add, because that you basically become their first year apprentice or their second
apprentice.
year apprentice. And so,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and without having to go to a trade,
yeah.
but the
Honestly,
fact that a builder can trust you.
yeah, yeah. I mean, in the renovation space, I'm all for DIY if you're the right person. I think DIYers that have got no clue, no interest, and their time's better spent at work should just hire people to do stuff. But I also think if you're a
Correct.
DIYer and you've got a natural ability and you love it and you're interested, you can really push a project through. Like you're just being on the
Yeah.
tools and you doing stuff, even cleaning up after a tradie and making their day
Yeah.
easier so that they can hit the ground running. And if you're paying them per hour, they can just get to it and you can do all the little bits and pieces in the background for them. Man, that you've created a machine. You really have. That's when you get through work
Yeah,
much, much faster.
definitely. Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's okay if you've got a builder taking care of the whole job, but if you're the project manager and
Yeah,
you're getting all little trades to come, then it's the little things that break off, like say a handle on a kitchen cabinet, or
yeah,
the hinge. Like the fact that you can go and get your drill and fix it yourself,
in
it,
5 minutes.
is a game changer. Do you know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah,
having to go, oh, God, I have to call somebody.
yeah, yeah. Look, I agree. Um, I love it. All right. So how terrified are people about getting on the tools if it's something they've never done before?
So terrified. I was having this conversation. They are. Not everybody. There's most probably, like, I would say 80% of them are very excited because they've seen me on socials. They know that
Yeah.
it's a safe space to be at, and they'll know I'll take care of them. But there is still like that small percentage when I do speak to them, then they were even nervous. There's a lot of people that don't even come because they're actually nervous to even go to a beginner's workshop.
In case
So,
they get
you
hurt.
know,
Yeah. Look,
yeah. Well, just because of the fear that they don't know anything, they don't even know how to put a drill in a drill bit, and they think that that they need to have some sort of a start.
yeah. Look, honestly, even as a couple, my hubby does a lot of the power tool stuff and I do all the finishing off. That's traditionally how we've worked through our renovations. For me to pick up the power tools, I feel like he's always looking over my shoulder, like I have to ask permission. It's like, this is my thing, hun. You just do your
Yeah,
thing, I'll do my thing. So I feel
yeah,
empowered when I'm on the tools, when I'm actually given the opportunity. So I think we've got to create these opportunities for ourselves. And quite often people will
yeah. That's
start
right. And
in a couple, they end up in single for whatever reason, their life takes a different path. Then all of a sudden they're faced with having to do stuff. My mum's having to do stuff now that dad's gone. She never had to do that all the way through her life. And to be able to, use the simple stuff, hang pictures on walls, do repairs, do handles like you were just saying on doorknobs is so valuable, so useful.
yeah, we get that a lot. We get that. We get older participants, students too. That's what's happened. They've lost
Yeah.
a partner, or split up, and then all of a sudden they've got tools, and yeah, and they feel a little bit lost, like not even they have no idea. So yeah,
So you do
it's
your.
definitely a skill.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. You know how you do your carpentry course, like your basic, what do you call that? Your,
The beginners one.
yeah,
Yeah, so we run a few workshops.
yeah, tell me.
So we run a beginners home and repair one. So basically that's for beginners that don't even know how to use a drill. We go through a
Yeah,
toolbox, how to use hand tools, and just so we can give you a bit of screws and that sort of stuff, so you can fix things on the wall and know how to navigate that. But then we've got a 3-day carpentry, so that's like a quite in-depth course. It's a good mix between theory and practical, and it gives you, because obviously I can't teach you how to go and build a deck without you not knowing the building theory behind it. Like,
yeah,
let's be honest, people, that they do a 4-year trade, so I'm not trying to teach carpentry in 3 days,
in three
but
days.
we do work. Yeah, it's about learning your skills, the confidence on power tools. As I said, like being able to cut perfectly for your builder, using your power tools safely, correctly, confidence. And they do get to build a small decking project, so they can maybe add a little decking project on their renovation, or even change the decking boards or that sort of stuff. So it's quite an in-depth course. There was no gap in between that, and we found, like, we've had over 500, 600 people through our workshop. So,
Yeah,
and not everybody wanted to go from a beginners to a 3-day in depth. So we just launched last week a power tool. One day it's power up power tool workshop, so which I'm excited about, because I think that's going to be a game changer, because they're going to learn how to use like 10 power tools, but every power tool is going to be specifically for a renovation project. So say for instance, your framing gun, I'm going to show you how to be able to build a partition wall. And then we're going to use a finishing gun, which you're going to learn how to put a VJ board on a wall.
yeah,
Those
yeah.
skills alone in renovation is amazing, right? To be able
Agree.
to put several. So it's just these little things that I think these little skills will make a major difference for a renovator, like using the jigsaw and teaching them how to cut a bench top, their sink hole into the bench top. So routing cabinet doors, that sort of stuff. It's just learning in one day, being able to learn the confidence to use the skills, the power tools, but to actually do something for your renovation. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. We just launched it last week. So, because I
Oh,
think
that
that's
is
going to be,
me too.
yeah,
Pardon the
one
pun,
day.
you've hit the nail on the head, Penny.
Yeah.
That's an
Uh,
absolute.
yeah.
And beyond that, for the creatives, and I have a lot of women and men in my group who like to do a few smaller jobs, like make some furniture or adjust some furniture, or simple things like a small cupboard or a coffee table. And so they can take those skills and use and put their creative flair to it, and perhaps make a few bits and
Yeah.
pieces for themselves at home.
Yeah, I mean, you would find there's a lot of courses and small courses that run like woodworking workshops. You'll find
Yeah,
thousands of them, but we're pretty much like leading the game in regards to DIY renovation school.
yeah,
So for me, it's like you can learn all that woodworking stuff. For me, is I want to teach you like a trade skill that you could do in a weekend that you could then build confidence to be on tools so you can learn to renovate, you know what I mean? To be able to enhance that. Obviously, when you get the confidence and know how to use a tool properly, that's when they start getting creative. Yeah, definitely. Like one of the students finished the 1 day course. She wanted to do a side gate, quite a nice
yeah,
side gate. It was she got quoted 4.5 grand, like 2 quotes, not just one. And she was
yeah,
like, oh, so she just, got a bit creative because she learnt the skills
yeah.
and learned how to fix things. Then she went and built it herself. Sure, it wasn't like 100% perfect, but we were still all impressed when she showed us the photos.
Impressed that she had a go, and impressed that honestly, nobody else would notice the small faults if it wasn't perfect.
It
Yeah.
was amazing. I was like,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah, that's amazing.
what about the sense of pride attached to that?
Yeah, that's right. And I still do that, Belinda. When I go, when I go and build something, I still love it. I still, look back and love it. So yeah, you can't beat building something with your own hands, really.
You can't beat fulfillment, Penny. You can't beat fulfillment.
Yes.
Right, you can't put a price on it. All right.
No.
So, in your experience, do people want to get on the tools just really quickly to either save money, or because it allows them to bring their own designs to life, or to start a career?
Yeah, what do you, sorry, what was that?
So, do
I
people,
heard it.
yeah, no. So, do people actually, in your experience and coming through your workshops, do people actually want to get started on
Yeah.
the tools to save money? Or because it allows them
Yeah.
to be able to do their own thing, like bring their creative designs to life, or to start a career,
Yeah.
or a
So at the
combination of all of
moment,
them.
yeah, it's a combination. Definitely, it's the three people, the three markets that I was saying that we connect
Yeah,
with. So yeah, at the moment, it's about 70% of people are wanting to learn to do for their own home,
yeah,
fix things around their home, so they don't have to, especially in like Queensland, because they've all got Queenslanders. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Their step or something's rotting,
Something's
and
broken all the time. Yeah,
something's broken. So they
yeah,
want to be able to, save money. They don't have to get someone in, and also independence, like not having to wait for someone to do it, whether it's a relative or whether it's a tradie. So that's the biggest thing. We are getting a really big like influx of people wanting to renovate now more. And I
yeah,
think that's because of all the renovation shows,
yeah, yeah,
that they can basically see, oh, they can see, oh, this woman did it, oh, she did it, she did it, she did it.
yeah.
I want to do that.
I can do it.
So I
Yeah,
think there's, yeah, I want to do that too. I
I
can do
can do it.
that.
Yeah,
So,
I could do it. Yeah,
and that sort of,
yeah,
yeah, so I think more exposure is like we're getting a lot of the renovators to come in again for their own home. And, as you know, we're getting some of your students coming through now
yeah,
too. So I think the more that they learn that they can make money through profit from
yeah,
renovating, like doing programs like yourself,
yeah,
because it's all fear. They just don't know,
yeah.
they
Well, they've
don't know
never
how.
done it before, and they're nervous about having a go.
Yeah, because let's be honest, you can lose a lot of money. Like if you do the renovation the wrong way, you go out of budget. You got
Yeah,
your wrong trades if you don't follow a system, the
yeah,
systems that you you would go through, then you know your profit might not no longer be a profit. So,
Yeah,
and
I
that's the
agree.
biggest problem.
All right, Penny, what's next
Everyone's
for you?
scared. Everyone's
Oh no, fear is a big thing. I agree. Yeah. What's next for you, Penny? Female tradie, you'll get handy workshops. What are your big goals and plans for the next few years?
uh, yeah, so I won't be doing as many renovations. The focus is on our workshops, our training,
Yeah,
and so and our focus is on going nationally. So we've got 4 cities now. We're in Northern Rivers, Brisbane, Sydney, and we launched Canberra. We're hoping to go down to Melbourne soon, and in time, I hope Perth and Adelaide's not that far away. So if we can just hit every single main city and get that bold. I think we've got it down packed in regards to the workshops I want to provide. We've
yeah,
got a basics tiling one too, we've got a kitchen one too.
yeah. I
So
saw
I
them.
think that's a
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's enough as in regards to the content. Now I know that that's the courses. So it's just nailing them, getting the right trainers to help us support that. So in the main cities, because my focus is basically I want to create my own training center here in Northern Rivers. So I want to be able to, do a retreat style training space where people can come and say do 5 days here with me, and we build a tiny home or something that sort of along those ways. So that's kind of what my dream is.
Oh
Get
my
my own
goodness.
property.
That would be so much fun. And I know there's 800 of my students who
Yeah,
put their names down for that.
yeah,
That
that's
would be amazing. What a
yeah.
great fun few days. And building
Thank
something
you.
with purpose too would be awesome. So well
Yeah.
done, Penny. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know that what you're putting together is very purpose driven and is very targeted to really assist anybody who wants to get on the tools, who may not have done it before, is a bit nervous about starting, all the safety stuff, but just be able to do some small repairs at home, and to make a start and then venture into bigger things perhaps. Spot on, Penny. It's been really nice to have you today. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question. If there's one piece of advice you'd like to give anyone who's thinking about picking up a tool for the first time, what would it be?
Just safety, make sure that you do things safely, and be able to go get coached, come to our workshops, don't be scared,
Yeah.
just have a go. You're in a really safe space. So if you just start, you're gonna think, oh, I wish I did it earlier.
Yeah, I agree.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Oh, brilliant. Okay, thanks so much, Penny. I look forward to having you at my workshop in October. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And if you'd like to work with Penny, you can find Penny on email at info@femaletradie.com.au, and you can also find her at femaletradie, tradie.com.au is her website, and you can have a look around at her latest courses and feel free to contact Penny direct. And if you can't find her, find me and I'll put you in touch.
Amazing. Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you.
have, have a
Let's
good
go, girls and boys. I know you have blokes at your training too.
Yeah, we do. That's why
Totally
we're trying
without
to get handy.
yeah, brilliant. Thanks.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.